Yo, how's it going? YouTube? Back to another video, and today I'm going to talk about the tragic story of the 2022 Los Angeles Lakers. So basically in this video, I'm going to be into all the reasons why I think the 2022 Lakers, despite all the hype, despite all the expectations that they had going into the season, why they did not work out as a team. I'm going to be going from where I think it started to go downhill, where in just overall, all the moves they made that led to this point, and why it ended up as bad as it did. So if that sounds interesting, stick around, watch the video the whole way through. It'd mean the absolute word to me. If you like the video point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It'd mean the absolute word to me. And without further ado, without rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so going into the 2022 NBA season, a lot of people saw the Los Angeles Lakers as legit finals contenders and one of the best teams in the entire NBA, and a ton of NBA analysis and analysts had them really going very, very far into the playoffs, if not all the way to the finals and winning it over a team like the Bucks or someone like that. And really, the all-around consensus around this Lakers team was that they're going to be very, very good and one of the best teams in the league going into this season, which led to takes from people like Kendrick Perkins dropping absolute gems like the Lakers could possibly be a 70-win team going into this season. And obviously, like most takes Kendrick Perkins makes, they age like milk, but still, at the time, that was a pretty acceptable take. Now, that might have been on the extreme end. 70 wins is extremely hard for any team to ever accomplish, no matter how good they are, even if they are finals contenders. But still, that was kind of how a lot of the NBA media saw the Lakers. They saw them as a super team, and they thought they were going to be very, very good. And really, going into the season, that's how a lot of NBA fans felt as well. But due to these really, really high expectations that everyone was putting on them, this is kind of where things started to go down, because these huge expectations resulted in ginormous disappointment from all the Lakers fans and really the Lakers media that surrounds the team. Because to see where the start of the end of this Lakers team kind of started, you have to go all the way back to last year's playoffs, where in the first round they were playing the Phoenix Suns, and throughout the first 3 games, things were kind of going to plan as the Lakers found themselves up 2-1 in the series. But unfortunately for them, in Game 4, Anthony Davis would go down with a groin injury that would result in him missing pretty much the rest of the playoff series. He tried to come back, but he just wasn't ready. He just was too injured. He couldn't play. He only played for 5 minutes, and he never came back in for the rest of the series, which resulted them in not winning another game and losing 3 straight, resulting in them getting eliminated in the first round. Now, obviously, that was a disappointment, but there was an obvious reason why it happened. So, although there was a lot of disappointment around that offseason for the Lakers, there wasn't really mass, chaos or anything. But what that Anthony Davis injury did trigger was for the front office of the Lakers to feel the need to get another star. And the reason they wanted to get another big-name star was because, obviously, they wanted to make sure, in case Anthony Davis, who has an injury history, was to get injured again, they could have another star that can help kind of replace him and help really let them still be a very good team going into the playoffs. Now, that also resulted in the front office getting very desperate for that other superstar, which resulted in the Russell Westbrook trade. That Russell Westbrook trade consisted of them trading KCP, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma to the Washington Wizards, and they also traded Isaiah Jackson to the Pacers, while all they received was Russell Westbrook. So on the surface, you see it from the Lakers' point of view, they get another superstar player in Russell Westbrook. He's a former MVP, just kind of played pretty good with the Washington Wizards, didn't make the playoffs, but Bradley Beal was also injured for a lot of that season, so you can give him a few excuses, and Russell Westbrook still looked very good for the Wizards. That's what it looks like on the surface, but if you dig a little bit deeper, you can kind of see some holes that trade might have happened. It kind of puts them in cap hell, because now they have 3 players that a lot of their cap is completely surrounded in LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook, and plus you traded some of your best defenders away and some of your best role players away as well. And since you're in such cap hell now you can't afford to pay people like Alex Caruso and other free agents like that, which is going to result in them walking during the offseason. And that is a very big deal, because just the year before, before Anthony Davis went down, the Lakers were a number 1 seed in the defensive category last year. They were the best defensive team in the league just the year prior, before Anthony Davis got hurt. But now that they traded all these elite defenders, or not these elite defenders, but very, very good ones in the role player defenders, now they drop all the way to the 26 defense this season, which really showed very, very bad results because their play dropped way off a cliff due to how little defense they were able to play. When it goes from your biggest strength to one of your biggest weaknesses, that is a huge problem. So yes, although they did add another huge name, superstar level player in Russell Westbrook, there is a huge scheme fit due to Russell Westbrook not being the greatest defender, LeBron getting older, and Anthony Davis having injury issues. Now that defense that was such a big strength of your team now no longer is a strength at all. And now if Anthony Davis does get hurt or Russell Westbrook really just cannot fit alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis, now your offense as well might not be good as either, and now you're no longer as deep on the bench because you traded so many players, and this Russell Westbrook trade just was bound to cause way more problems than it was able to solve from the jump, and that's just by looking just a little deeper into the trade. And then to really just compound how bad of a trade that ended up being, they compounded that with just some horrendous offseason signings as well. Now, not all of them were awful or anything, some of them were solid, but really none of them were that big of a deal in helping this team get any better than they already were. Because if you look at what they did, this offseason signing-wise especially, was extremely overrated. As if you look at what they did, they first started off by extending Talen Horton-Tucker, then they signed Dwight Howard, then Wayne Ellington, Trevor Ariza, Malik Monk, Kent Bazemore, Carmelo Anthony, and Kendrick Nunn. Now, looking back at all those signings, Kendrick Nunn never ended up playing for the Los Angeles Lakers due to a bone bruise, which, don't get me started, it must have been worse. I'm not saying he didn't play for whatever reason, but a bone bruise for an entire season out injury is really kind of unheard of if you go back and look, but I'm just going to give him the benefit of a doubt and say he really was injured the entire season. But overall, that contract's still not a good one because he never ended up playing for them. Dwight Howard can't guard the perimeter. Carmelo Anthony doesn't play defense. It's kind of been a non-thing for his entire career. Wayne Ellington pretty much never played for them. Trevor Ariza was washed up and got cut eventually. Malik Monk was good, but he doesn't play defense. And then to make things even worse and put the cherry on top of this offseason, Talen Horton-Tucker, who showed tons of potential the year prior, went on to have the worst season of his career with the Lakers up to this point after they extended him. And by the way, I'm not going to get into it too much because I don't know all the details. I'm pretty sure they decided to extend Horton-Tucker over trading for Kyle Lowry. By the way, the Kyle Lowry trade would have been much better, much more beneficial for the Lakers, but I don't know all the details, so I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want to say something wrong. But just know that they decided to extend Talen Horton-Tucker over trading for Kyle Lowry. That was a decision they made that was publicly, written about everywhere. So that I know for a fact they decided. So that's another terrible decision made this offseason by the Lakers front office. And that really just puts the huge icing on the cake of this entire offseason to show just how bad it ended up being, especially when everyone saw it and thought that it was a very good offseason. And now for what this horrendous offseason ended up resulting in. It resulted in that #1 overall ranked defense just the year prior falling all the way to the 26th overall rank, turning their biggest strength and better than anyone in the league, its defense, all the way to one of the worst defenses in the entire NBA. In just one offseason, they were able to do that, which is kind of more impressive than going from 26th to 1st, honestly. So, in that standpoint, that was impressively bad for an offseason. But then on top of that, to make things worse, that's not really their fault, but Anthony Davis would only play 40 games this season due to injuries, second least in his entire career, by the way, only second to the year before this one with the Lakers. So Anthony Davis having tons of injury problems, nothing new in his career, but still sucks to happen. You can't control that, but the whole Russell Westbrook trade was kind of to help prevent this situation from happening because they knew Anthony Davis's injury history. So they got Russell Westbrook in case Anthony Davis goes down, Westbrook can step up and the Lakers can continue to be a contending level team. Obviously, that's not how things worked out at all in any way, and that resulted in the Lakers Lakers finishing the 2022 season with a 33-49 record, missing literally even the play-in tournament and not even having a chance to make it into the playoffs, and it just looks very, very bad on them. The 2022 season for the Lakers is probably going to go down in history as one of the worst, most anticipated, most disappointing teams in NBA history, and I'm going to stand on that, and I think very firmly that it will go down as one of the most disappointing teams in the entire league's history. But unfortunately, guys, that's me for this video. So comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think that the Lakers were disappointing? Do you think this tells the story of the 2022 Lakers? On your thoughts in the comment section below. And before I do the rest of the outro, I want to say I know it's been a while since I made a video. That's all me. I got sick. I couldn't even speak. I was coughing every 2 seconds. I'm still kind of coughing, but I'm feeling a lot better. So I hope you understand. I hope it didn't take too long. I'm sorry for not uploading videos. I hate not uploading. It took a while. I'm sorry. This is one of the longest I ever went without uploading in a very long time, and I'm sorry about that, but I should be back now. I'm feeling better, and hopefully I can keep the videos coming out, especially with the playoffs already being here. So hopefully I can really get these stuff going and get this stuff out. But with that out of the way, I hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day. So you have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.